Very, 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 very quick test. Did not think about my setup before pressing record on the camera. Just breathe and breathe. Just breathe. Name that song. In the comments, name that song. That was Living the Life of 2004? Is that when that song came out? Anyway. Hey friends, welcome back to my one and only channel, The Book Diva. As far as I know, as far as history goes, I'm the only book diva out there. So anybody else claiming to be a book diva out in the world are frauds. Just kidding. You can be a book diva if you want, but I am the book diva. Let's just make that clear. Very crystal Pepsi clear. The book diva, me. So recently, the Women's Prize finalists were announced. If you don't know what that is, it's an award ceremony dedicated to exclusively women authors. Love that there is a space for just women writers, because we all know, like with all award ceremonies, a lot of the women can sometimes get overshadowed by the men. We just gotta equalize everything here in this world, especially where I live in the US. So I myself got curious, what are some of the best-selling books throughout history that have been written by women? And I gotta be honest, I looked through the list and I had not read a lot of them, which I thought was pretty sad, considering that most of the books that I read are authored by women. So I decided to go to look for just really great books that are written by women. I found this question that somebody asked on Reddit, they asked, I'm looking for a great book written by a woman. It's under the category of feminism. Something books I've read and loved in my adult life have been written by men. After taking a fairly long hiatus from reading, which, you know, we all have taken a very long hiatus from reading because of the assigned reading that we're always made to do in school, and depending on your chosen career path, you might have to do assigned reading for your work too. People just need to take a long ass break from reading, even if you enjoy it. When you do too much reading for too long, when you do too much of anything for too long, you gotta slam on the brakes from time to time. Anyway, where was I? After taking a fairly long hiatus from reading, I've recently jumped back in, and the last 3 books that I've read have been on Daisy Jones and the Six. Oh, I'm gonna read that eventually, and I'm very excited about it too, because what's her name? Taylor Reed Jenkins? I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that may have just inspired me. I think I may have said this about another book before, but that book actually got me wanting to actually start thinking about the idea of wanting to write my own book, which, as I've said before, I don't know if it'll ever get released. I'm just scrimping by on finding the time to sit down and actually type out the story unfolding in my head. Anyway, back to Daisy Jones and the Six, shall we? White Oleander and Gone Girl. Those are both movies, by the way. I haven't seen White Oleander, but I've seen Gone Girl, and I'm going to read the book at some point. Don't know if it's gonna be a future book versus film comparison, but we'll see when we get there. I've absolutely loved them. Such a huge welcome to change reading women characters written by women. What should I read next? I'm not into fantasy, neither am I. If it's fantasy wound up with like a horror thriller genre, maybe I might read it, but not romantasy. Oh no. We don't do those things. We don't read those things around here. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with that, it's just not my taste. But if it's your taste, good for you. Let's see what some of these Redditors suggest, what they think that are good books written by women authors. As I go through these, I think I'm just gonna I can already see, like, this is gonna take so long to go through, so I'm just gonna go through the ones that I feel that most people would probably recognize by name. Oh, I mean, this one, I've never heard of this one. It's Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. Okay, the author's name sounds familiar. Life After Life. My INFJ ass is really curious at the moment. Somebody suggested Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I was actually in a stage production of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I played a prostitute. It was an experience. Oh, someone mentioned The Lovely Bones. I haven't seen the movie or read the book, but somebody on here suggested it. Same person also recommended To Kill a Mockingbird and Anne of Green Gables. Okay, I've only seen the movie adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird. I know that the book is really popular. I feel like most people, at least most people that I've talked to, they read it in school at some point, but I never read I never read To Kill a Mockingbird in school. Got to slow down and pace myself when I talk. We all know a little bit of kombucha will help. And I said this in a previous video that you go watch, pause this video and go watch, and then come back here. I seen the 80s PBS miniseries and I read like short little abridged adaptations of Anne of Green Gables, like the picture books that were child friendly. I've never actually read the full chapter book, but I'm going to because I want the full-on Anne Shirley experience. Even though I'm not a child, I can still, this will be a way for me to reconnect with my inner child, so I don't want to hear it. Of course, we have got Jane Austen. They didn't say what particular Jane Austen books, but I thought about getting into Jane Austen at some point, even though I'm not really a romance lover. I just think it would be an experience to see how much I'm missing out on. Because I'm sure that I'm missing out on something if I haven't. No, I'm not gonna burp. No, I do it too much on this channel. But what was I talking about? If you read Jane Austen, get down in the comments and tell me what Jane Austen books are worth a read. I know that Scarlett Johansson is in a film called Girl with the Pearl Earring, but I didn't know that it was a book, so there's that. Oh, and The Color Purple. I did read The Color Purple in high school for assigned reading in my English class, and it made me sad. And I'm so mad. When I was in New York several years ago, the musical kept selling out. Every single time my friends and I would go in the line to get rush tickets, every time we got there, they were sold out. This was 2016, by the way. I don't think it was even in the top 10 most popular musicals at the time that were currently running. So it never made sense to me. And I'm still peeved to this day that I never saw it, but I might see the film just to compensate for my loss. Yep, we got The Handmaid's Tale. I knew that it was a book beforehand, but I don't have Hulu, so I've never seen the TV show. But people say it's really, really good. Whether or not I believe them, that's a different story. That's why I like to read books for myself so that I can come to my own conclusions. Why else would they call me the book diva? Why? No, I did not. No, I did not read that as the Wizard of Shit. The Wizard of Shit. There's a title called Everyone in This Room Will Be Dead Someday. Yeah, I try not to think about that too much, but that is a fact of life. Thanks for reminding me, Emily Austen. This person said, my favorite of all books is written by a woman and the protagonist is a woman. Yeah, that is true. I am naturally drawn to books that are written by women, and most of the time they are women protagonists most of the time. The more that you have in common with the protagonist, basic things like gender or sexuality or whatever, I'm sure I'm just stating facts here. The more basic things like that you have in common with a protagonist in the story, the more likely you are to enjoy what you are reading. That is just my social theory. It doesn't have to be yours, and that's okay. Oh, The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. I do want to read that at some point. I have seen the films. As far as the films go, I really liked Interview with the Vampire, and I hated the second one. I think that's how most people felt though. Little Women, again, only saw the film, but I did know that it was a book beforehand. Y'all, give me a break. The person who asked this question, I took a really long break from reading, and I'm a film lover too. So do not come at me. Readers come in all shapes and sizes, and we can have different hobbies besides reading, but reading in this platform is just one facet of my life. I am a very multifaceted face. I should start taking a kombucha shot every time I see Jane Eyre. Is that how you? Oh, L.M. Montgomery. She wrote a book called The Blue Castle. So somebody said Girl on the Train. That book gets such a bad rep. I personally enjoyed it, but everybody that I've personally come across seems to hate it. I mean, the main character is kind of like, she's going through a hard time, and like she kind of does have like kind of a bad attitude, and her friend's letting her stay with her while she's trying to overcome her struggles, and she doesn't really show a lot of like gratitude, and she can't let go of her ex-husband. So I don't know if that's the reason why people don't like it, because they don't like the main character. But I mean, despite the main character being the way she is, I personally liked it. There were lots of windy twists and turns there. Secret Garden. Okay, it seems like this goes on for a billion jillion years. So I'm gonna stop the video right there. I'll leave a link in the description box to the Reddit thread if you want to read it for yourself. But there is an infinite list of recommendations here on this book suggestions question. If you liked this video, make sure that you leave a comment down below and tell me what maybe you would want to see here in the future on the Book Diva channel. And also, don't forget the very most important part, subscribe! Because you know what's gonna happen? Do you know what's gonna happen? When I get 500 subscribers on the Book Diva, I'm gonna take all of the books that I have read already from my walk-in closet back there, and I'm gonna pack them up and take them to a nonprofit of my choosing here in my hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. But I gotta get 500 subscribers first before I know which nonprofit it's gonna be. So in order to make that magic happen, you gotta pay it forward and click that subscribe button, which is so easy to do. You don't have to pay anything. All you have to do is just bing! And you know what will happen? It'll notify you every time that I upload. Every goddamn time. Time to skedaddle. Beh.